Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
That was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in New Delhi at midnight on the eve of independence in August of 1947. And this is Riti Bhalla in New York as we celebrate the 62nd anniversary of that most historic day of the 20th century. India gains independence. On August 15th, 1947, this was the headline in a British newspaper, and they called it the greatest headline of the century. It all started with the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the first war of independence. It began on May 10th as a mutiny of sepoys of the East India Company in the town of Meerut, and soon erupted into civilian rebellions in other parts of India. The rebels quickly captured large parts of the northwestern provinces, including Delhi, where they installed the Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of Hindustan. The British response came rapidly as well. By September 1857, Delhi had been retaken. Nevertheless, it took the better part of 1858 for the rebellion to be completely suppressed. But meanwhile, the rebel leaders Nana Sahib, Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi, Mangal Pandey, and Dantia Tope had created a great sense of nationalism and a quest for independence. Our first guest in our celebration of the Independence Day of India has been a strong supporter of India on Capitol Hill for the last 3 decades, first as a congressman and now as a U.S. Senator. He is a member of the Senate India Caucus and voted for the U.S.-India Nuclear Accord. Over the years, he has been tireless in his pursuit in building strong relations between the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest democracy. Our senior senator from the state of New York has also been a great friend of the Indian American community and has been a regular guest in our celebration since 2006. Senator Schumer, welcome to our program.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Riti. I'm really honored to be part of this celebration today.
Thank you very much. On this special occasion, what could be a greater honor for the Indian American community all across the U.S. than being joined by both senators from the state of New York? I'm truly proud to welcome our new senator from the Empire State, the Honorable Kirsten Gillibrand. Senator Gillibrand, welcome to our celebration.
Thank you, Riti. It's a real honor and privilege to be here with you today.
Thank you. Senator Schumer, let me first ask you, what comes to your mind when you think of India, especially on this 62nd anniversary of our Independence Day?
Well, I think of the similarities between India and the United States. I think of how great it is that we have so many people from India here in America, and particularly in my state of New York, because they contribute so much to our country. I think of the similar history and the similar values, 2 great democracies. India is the world's largest democracy, America is the world's oldest democracy, and both of us have never forgotten our history and where we come from. I am confident that the Indian-American relationship will go stronger and stronger and stronger because we both believe in freedom, we both are peace-loving people, and we're both people who honor achievement as you work up the ladder.
Thank you. Senator Gillibrand, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton just completed a very successful visit to India. So throughout her Senate tenure, she has been a very strong advocate of U.S.-India relations. As her successor in the U.S. Senate, Senator, what message would you like to convey to the Indian American community in the United States and the people of India today?
Well, on this day of celebration of India's Independence Day, There can be no better testament to India than the consistent record of free and fair elections such as the one that was held in May. I congratulate Prime Minister Singh and President Patel. I represent 500,000 New Yorkers of Indian descent. They contribute to our economy and our vibrant culture. I'm very happy to tell you that I've just joined the India Caucus a couple of weeks ago, and I'm delighted to be able to announce that on today's program.
On April 13, 1919, the day of Baisakhi, thousands of people gathered for a peaceful meeting in the Jallianwala Bagh, near the Golden Temple in Amritsar. British General Dyer marched a group of soldiers into the park and ordered them to open fire without warning. He continued the firing until all ammunition was exhausted. Hundreds of people were killed and thousands were injured. Bullet marks on the walls of Jallianwala Bagh are still preserved today. All over India, the news about the massacre evoked feelings of deep anguish and outrage. The massacre ultimately became an important catalyst of the Indian independence movement, paving the way for Mahatma Gandhi's non-cooperation movement against the British. It was also the motivation for a number of other revolutionaries, including Bhagat Singh. There are 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives, and we invite them very selectively to our program. My next guest has been a co-chair of the Congressional Caucus on India and Indian Americans. He has visited India 6 times and led the largest ever congressional delegation to India. He brought 13 members of Congress to India who had never been there before. During his tenure as co-chair of India Caucus, he brought in 60 additional members of Congress to the caucus. I am proud to present to you the United States Congressman from the 7th Congressional District of New York, the Honorable Joseph Crowley. I'm equally proud to present to you Congressman Anthony Weiner, who has also visited India and is also a member of the India Caucus. In 2001, Congressman Weiner was honored by the Gujarati Samaj of New York as a great friend of India and Indian Americans. You can see why both Congressman Weiner and Congressman Crowley have been regular guests on my program since 2006. So Congressman Weiner and Congressman Crowley, welcome to our celebration.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us back.
Congressman Crowley, as we celebrate the 62nd anniversary of the Independence Day of India, what are your thoughts for the Indian American community?
Well, first, Riti, thank you for that wonderful introduction, not only on behalf of myself and my colleague Anthony Weiner. We are very happy back on your show, and to be here to once again celebrate India and her anniversary as a democracy. India finds itself in a part of the world where democracy is little appreciated, bordering China, near Russia, near many of our friends in the Middle East, and has really been a shining example, I think, over these especially in these last few decades, as to what the benefits of democracy can be for a country and for its people. To watch India go through especially these last 2 elections, and to see the volume of people that vote throughout those weeks, it really is, I think, a great tribute to the founders of modern India and their dedication to a democratic state.
Thank you, Congressman Crowley. And all of us in the Indian American community truly admire you for bringing our country of birth and our country of adoption closer together. So thank you once again. Congressman Weiner, as a representative of the world's oldest democracy, what are your thoughts as we celebrate the Independence Day of the world's largest democracy?
Well, first, I feel very fortunate to be here with you, and anytime I can spend some time with Joe Crowley, a former chairman of the India Caucus, it's a welcome opportunity. You know, Joe and I represent very diverse communities, and we get a chance to celebrate the history of many countries. But if you consider the common ideals that we share with India, particularly as we think about it here in Washington, D.C., that indeed a democracy the size of India is something that we should celebrate. You know, we frequently in the United States focus a great deal on another Asian country that's very large, and that's China. But it's really India is the one that we should really be encouraging. India is the one that we should have the closest kind of cultural relationship with. So as we celebrate its independence, it is really a sense of shared value. So this is a day of great celebration. We share our common identity and it is really great to have you back here. And I know that you turned down being host on Face the Nation to continue your job here, and I want to thank you for doing that. You're performing a great service to the community.
Thank you very much, Congressman Weiner, and thank you, Congressman Crowley. Bhagat Singh coined the widely popular slogan, "Inqilab Zindabad," long live the revolution. On April 8, 1929, he embarked on a plan to throw a bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly against the passage of 2 new repressive bills. The aim was not to cause any loss of life, but to use the daring action to awaken and energize the Indian masses. Bhagat Singh and his companions Rajguru, Sukhdev, and B.K. Dutt were tried in the assembly bomb case. Their fearless attitudes in court became legendary. Every day they entered the courtroom chanting the slogans "Inqilab Zindabad," "Down with imperialism," and singing songs like "Sarfaroshi ki tamanna, ab hamare dil mein hai." Our heart is filled with the desire of sacrifice. My next guest on the Riti Bhalla special is very special to me. He joined us in the first Independence Day celebration, which I hosted on RBC Radio when I was only 8 years old. With his encouragement and inspiration, this program has now grown into a television show. The New York Times calls him a terrific problem solver and public servant in the best sense of the term. Newsday calls him a leader of exceptional and rare ability. And we in the Indian American community call him a friend. We are honored that Nassau County Executive Tom Swazi is joining us once again in our program. Mr. Swazi, welcome to our celebration.
Thank you, Riti. Thank you so much. And I've watched Riti grow up all these years and to be such a nice young woman, so intelligent and so capable. And during those years that our relationship has grown, I've seen my relationship with the Indian American community grow here in Nassau County, throughout New York State. But when you look even closer at the relationship between India and America, you see such great similarities between the world's largest democracy and the world's first democracy. Whether it's Bhagat Singh or Mahatma Gandhi or George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, we saw people who devoted their lives, were really willing to risk everything, and in fact, in many cases did risk everything, because they believed in the idea of democracy, they believed in the idea of freedom and independence. And as we celebrate Indian Independence Day this year, we think of the great, wonderful victories that have been won, not only for the Indian people and for the American people, but for all humankind, because of people exercising their intelligence and their God-given talents to try and make their lives and the lives of the people that they love and their families and their neighborhoods and their countries and the world even better. So I'm very happy to join with everyone in wishing everyone in the Indian American community, in the Indian community throughout the world, all of our friends, wishing them all a happy Independence Day. Jai Hind, and thank you so much for allowing me to join you today.
Thank you, Mr. Swazi. My next guest has always been very supportive of the Indian American community and has earned their respect and admiration all across New York State. He, along with County Executive Tom Swazi, participated in my first radio program in 2002. We are thrilled that New York State Comptroller, the Honorable Tom DiNapoli, is with us for our celebration. Mr. DiNapoli, welcome to our program.
Riti, thanks. It's great to be with you once again. And we're celebrating such an important day, independence of India. You know, I've learned so much from Riti and from her family about the contributions of the Indian community here on Long Island, across New York State, across our nation. So it's a privilege for me to join in celebrating this wonderful Independence Day for India. You know, in New York State, the Indian American community is a very strong presence and a growing presence in our community, as you well know. And one of the aspects of the community I admire so much is the love for democracy. I think that's a wonderful tradition that has certainly typified the history of India and the ways in which the Indian community here in New York and across America takes that love for democracy and that willingness to participate. It's really an example for all New Yorkers and all Americans to follow as well. So on the 62nd anniversary of the independence of India, I'm very privileged to be here to extend my warmest wishes and congratulations to my Indian American friends in New York and all across this great nation.
Thank you, Mr. DiNapoli.
Thank you.